Come back to you. Hello, hello, hello. All right, y'all. We're back with day 12 of the trial. And baby, we come to find out who Mia is. If you're coming in, welcome in. Don't forget to hit that like button. We are coming in to find out who Mia is. Yes, yes, yes. And Mia has just emptied the clip at this trial. Mia has emptied the clip. We are in week 3, day 12. And we are now coming in to where we're getting what we needed. So, well, the prosecutors needed, but we're getting what we needed. Let me wait for everything to load up. Mm-hmm. Getting into it, honey. Yes, yes, yes. So Mia is witness number 4. Remember, I think Deontay Nash is number 2, and the makeup's number 3. I think it was more witnesses. We'll put it that way. And some witnesses have declined to show up to the trial, even though they got subpoenaed. They decline. They are not there to say anything. They're not there to confirm anything. Some people did not come. Okay, we're gonna get into Miss Mia. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me see. Come on and refresh so we can get into these points. So they had already came out that hey, today they're gonna be doing they're gonna go ahead and stay till the latest they will be for trial was today was till 4 p.m. So remember I told y'all that trial was from 8 or 9 to 3. And now that they're getting deeper into it, if they have to stay till 4 and they get the greens to say, hey, I want to stay till 4, they're going to stay till 4 p.m. today. So obviously, what time is it? It's 4:45. They were in court. They went to lunch and then came back. They took a break or whatever, and they have been there since 4. Okay, so it's a lot that has happened, a lot that started back. So they came. They talked about they have subpoena from Verizon phone records. Ms. Garros has agreed that Your Honor finds them admissible. You may give them to us to use. That's fine. And they asked to get Mia back. So let me see if I can find Mia, how she started off and how long she worked for him. Mm-hmm. Click on this one. I'm on Twitter, y'all, reading, so forgive me. Okay. Trying to see how they started with Mia as how they called her to as a witness. Okay, here we go. All the way to the top. My screen like to drag down long. Child, Apple, do better. So okay. So then Deontay Nash came back today and finished his testimony. And basically he came back to finish. They asked him, was Mr. Coleman control of his actions? He said yes. He said he told me we're gonna get some D or whatever. They said that they cleared that up. They said that she didn't want to go, and then they decided to show. Then they asked for Mia, and they came in with the next witness, and there'll be no recording witness coming in. So they asked, "How do you wish to identify?" She said Mia, and she spelled her name. Don't show this exhibit. And she said it was her passport, and they said they'll show it for the jury. And Brian still say he would like to see it. Mia came in. They asked her where she was from. She said she's from Virginia Beach. She recalls knowing who Sean Combs was. She called him Puff, and she worked for him as his personal assistant. Then she was like the director of development and accusations of Revolt Films, and she say it was, working there with Puff, his mood would change all the time, meaning it was great working there, but his mood would change. It varies. And they asked, was he violent to you? She said, yes, he threw stuff at her. He's thrown her against the wall, into the pool, an ice bucket on her head, slammed his arms into the door, and actual assault her. I believe this is the one that we talked about that he fired in Paris. And in Paris, remember when I read the affidavit that one assistant said that she was gang and she was assaulted by Diddy and some of his compadres. I believe this who Mia is. Remember, they never gave a name when I read that affidavit, and they said the only way for her to get out was for her to be as aid just to get out. Yeah, I believe this is her. This is her. This is the lady. Okay. They asked her was she essayed more than once, and she said he essayed her more than once. Did you want to be in the arts? She said yes. This was before social media. I thought if I put my mattress on my car and drive to New York, I could do it. I went to work for Georgina Chapman Red Carpet Dressing. And she said then she was assistant to Mike Myers. She said that Combs had hired her. She said she met with a recruiter and she met with his HR, who was in Tony Bays Fletcher. She said he was at an apartment. He was on the phone wearing his underwear when he interviewed her with HR. So he came to interview her. He had just his underwear on and he was on the phone. Like he ain't say hey. He ain't say how you doing. He wasn't a professional, presentable. He just had on underwear. Mm, out of control. Then when the HR lady left, they say he put on clothes, and then that's when he gave her the job. She wasn't expected. She was expected to work a lot, but she was told that she'll get paid $50,000. And then had HR tell her she was on a trial for 2 weeks to see how well she does. Excuse me, being his assistant. They were going to give her a 2 week grace period to see how that goes, and she continued on to be an assistant. So she said she started in his Alpine in a New Jersey house. She said she was there all day. They would go back to the office for a few hours more, and then she was told that Puff wanted her to come to the studio, and they would be there until 1 p.m. the next day. And they asked them, when did you go? She said Puff's apartment, then home. And they asked her how fast the chef turned. She said, return back to the job to be his assistant, to be there for him. She said she didn't take a nap. She didn't want to risk it. So she basically said, they asked her, how much did you sleep during your first 24 hours? She said, I didn't. I took it as a challenge. She said there had been a TV show a few years before I called. I want to work for Diddy. It was like that. Basically saying like how they want on Making a Band, where basically they didn't sleep. Yeah, they basically didn't sleep like that. When they're basically saying they was doing lack of sleep, that's what it was. They asked her how she dealt with the lack of sleep. When I was young, I told myself you can sleep at 3 p.m. She said objection. They said overrule. She said that she stayed up for 5 days and she took Adderall to extend her release from wanting to fall asleep, and she would have a queasy function and then try to stay awake. She said her hearing. How when did you go to sleep? She said my hearing went and my equilibrium was off. She had blurred visions, lights that weren't there. She cried because she didn't get any sleep. She had lack of sleep. She didn't sleep for 5 days. So her body and its schedule was off. Were you there? Were you then told you could sleep? She would say, yeah. She said, by whom? She said, Puff. When did you stay awake that long? She said, I was working. And then introduced some exhibits and they were sealed. They want to renew their objection and admit it under sealed and asked Mia what it was. She said a list of responsibilities that she was sent to Tony Bays Fletcher on November 10, 2011. Puff said, I don't know what you do all day. So he basically was like, she ain't sleep. He don't know what she do all day for her not to sleep. Like, what does she do? Because if they got all this going on, what does she do? And they're going to say, what did you do? Let's focus on a few things, documents. Please read them. So she read all of the PDA social media presence. With Puff Daddy, she say PD. She say Sean Combs P Puff Daddy. I wrote main lesion between Petey and Hollywood, and she did it off her BlackBerry, which was 24/7, when she had to have that he paid for that he gave to her. And she said she had to anticipate his moves, and she said it was important because it dictate how the day would go. So if his mood was great, she wouldn't have nothing thrown at her. It's quickened. She'll get her some sleep. Everything is fine. But if the mood was bad, she'll have an ice bucket thrown at her. She'll be, he'll throw things at her. And then on top of that, there ain't no sleep. Ain't no sleep. All right, let me go back. Um, ooh, my neck. I'm sorry. You wrote, every day is different. She said he could ask you to crack his knuckles or do his taxes. I thought you go to your tax preparer, Diddy, to get your taxes done. Why are you having your assistant to turning your taxes for you? Diddy is out of control. Diddy is out of control. She was in New York. She had an apartment in New York, and they asked, "Were you there much?" She said her roommate joked they lived with the ghost because she was barely there. She gave his LA address. I'm not gonna say it. It was a 9933 Beverly Grove, okay, and then he had a 9374 Beverly and Crest Drive, and then there was a 200 South Mapleton. In Miami, it was called Two Star, and they asked her could she leave only with post permission. She said she couldn't leave. She said she left after 2 p.m. after he fell asleep, and he got him. He got in her butt about it. Security called her to say he was sending them to find me. It was at the first LA house in 2009 and 2010. So basically, she left and he sent them there, and she wasn't allowed to lock her bedroom door. He told her it was her house. He said no one locks the doors in her house, so it wasn't really her room. She had one deadbolt, then another keypad. So security didn't get to lock the security only was the ones that got locked doors. So one security guard had a deadbolt, another one had a keypad to their door. And she said they were actively hiring other assistants. And they asked her how long to Malcolm, the assistant who was there when you started. He stayed for 7 to 8 months. And she was there for like a year. She said she didn't have time to feel it was insane. Puff gave me a pep talk like we were a team. He said I need a second brain. Did he hire more? She said yes, eventually, but I still felt like I was responsible. They asked her, did she get punished? She said in various ways, getting cussed out, my intelligence insulted, and my job threatened. So he threatened her job. He probably called her a dumb B too, as he did everybody else. Mm-hmm. Out of control. Um, and then they said she asked who would do those things to her, like who did this? She said Puff, and they asked who this person was, which was George Kaplan, who was another assistant for him. He came after she did, and they asked her what was Revolt Films. She said her and Puff started Revolt Films, and she was still performing personal assistant duties for him. She would get paid 70,000 and then 100,000. They were supposed to be bonuses included that gets her that she would get with the 70,000 or 100,000 that she was getting paid for, and she never got her bonuses. So then they took a break and they came back, and they asked her about Cassie. She said she was working for Post. They became friends, close friends, and they still friends to this day. Their relationship, has a little higher and lows. It's a little unequal. And the answer was there violence in Cassie did a relationship. She said, yeah. And, she said, we'll get back to that. What was Mr. Cohn's rule with respect to her career? He decided on everything. He decided on her shows and her look. He would get mail from Cass and Puff and others to her. And she said it would be sent to her between like 4 a.m., 7 a.m. in California. It was one of those hotel nights that he had that, he was getting ready to have his FOs at the time. So she would get these emails at 4 to 7 in the morning. She would say that she's canceling, apologize to Interscope and others. So basically, she confirming that Cassie said she didn't get to make an album. She didn't have Thank You, Terry. She didn't get to have studio time. she had deals and things to talk about with people, and she couldn't because, like Cassie said, she was doing more FOs than actually going into the studio laying down tracks. So then they asked her, did she write about telling Selvin Hill? She said Cassie wrote about telling Selvin Hill. What does she mean? Stephen Hill of BET. And then she say no support, no show. So Stephen Hill was over BET at the time before he sold it. Still don't know why he did, but he said that he basically said in an interview he didn't have the time for it anymore and stuff like that. But around that time, that was when we still had that's when Perfect Match came out. We still had 106 Park. BET was at its utmost best, and she was trying to get Stephen Hill support about stuff at the time. And then why did you forward this to Tony Fletcher? She said she had to keep her informed. She was in charge of booking up the hotels. So they asked her, did she see Mr. Combs on the movie set? She said everyone be nervous. He insert himself. So basically, I guess he was on Perfect Match movie set. He would insert himself at the time. What was his role with respect to Cassie's appearance? He was in charge of her role in that movie. Did you have exposure to Cassie finances? She said yes. She told them she learned the company paid her credit cards, and that the places where she lived were under his company names in her cars. So her apartment that she said that she lived in, that was under his name. The car that she drive was under his name. So that's how he was really able to locate her, because he would put it under his name to pay for it. They said that he took cars and jewelry and support, and if he couldn't get her on the phone, so he would take her stuff. Like if he couldn't get her and he didn't know where she was, he's taking it. He's taking her stuff from her. And he kept tabs on her through Mia. And what part of your job to spend time with Cass? She said she had to do whatever Puff wanted her to do to spend time. If he wanted to know what her meal was that day, she had to tell him. If he wanted to know what time she went to the store, how long she was gone, she had to tell him. That was her thing when it came to watching Cassie. He wanted to know her every move. He wanted to know what time she went to bed. He wanted to know what time. He wanted to know everything. But this was been his girlfriend, as he say. Terrifying. Yeah, control freak. Anywho, she said she couldn't go where she did. The second person that said this, she wasn't able to go where she wanted. She had to be where Puff told her to be. So everyone that was on staff, they could not go out. They couldn't go get them a nice meal, sit down and enjoy. They couldn't take a vacation. They couldn't do none of that. They did that, they were fired. So basically she's saying, listen, I couldn't go where I wanted to go. This man told me I had to be his beck and call. If I want to go to see my little cousin football game, I can't go. I can't go. I have no life. My life is his. I can't go there. This is like, he is very much out of control. It got to be the rugs. They said, they asked her, well, what if you didn't tell him? Like, what if you didn't tell him you were going somewhere? What if you didn't inform him? Like, what would he do? She said something very scary. The punishment was unpredictable but terrifying. And she said, you should say, okay, well, we'll talk some more about that as we get through your testimony. She said, they asked, how would Mr. Combs communicate with Ms. Ventura? And she said she would do it through her. He wouldn't talk to her directly, it would be through her. And they said, well, what kind of violence did you see him do to her? Like, what kind of violence did you witness? She said, I saw a lot of aftermath and injury she had. I've seen him attack her and throw her on the ground. And I've seen him like crack her head open. I've seen him chase her. Things like that. Now, remember yesterday, Deontay said that he did crack her head open. She hit her head on the headboard and then cracked her head open. It's a picture of it that they showed to everybody. It was really bad. And it was just blood everywhere. Like, yeah. Like, she's saying, hey, Deontay was right. He cracked her head open. She was there that day. Remember we read Deontay's testimony yesterday? He said she jumped on his back trying to get him off of her. because she had cracked her head open. She had to get plenty of towels to try to stop the bleeding because it was that bad. So she's talking about that day the same as Deontay about the crack head open. And, they say that Cassie didn't fight back. She didn't fight back at all. She just sat there and she just let him do it. Just like we saw with the hotel video. Cassie did not fight back and he was kicking her. She was just shielding herself, being drugged. She, in the way she looked in the video, if y'all saw the full video, she's just like, well, I guess I'm getting dragged today. I guess that's it. Well, go ahead and drag me. You've been doing it. Like those would be the way she looked. Like, well, I guess he gonna what else he gonna do next? Cause he done drugged me. Oh, okay. Like she just like whatever. Not saying that she wasn't a victim, but she was so used to it. And you remember she was under influence. She probably was just like, yep, all right, well, this is what he does. What's new? To her, it's like, well, what else? What else is new, child? When did you hear and see suitcases being thrown in the foyer? They asked what they see Cassie after that. They said she was outside crying in the bush. She looked terrified. She gestured, I'm hiding. I'm not here. What did you do? Retreated. She retreated. She didn't tell any. I think the chef was in the kitchen. The sentiment was like they called for objection, and abstain. They asked what did the chef say to her. It said objection, and Mr. Steele said objection. She said not for the truth. And the judge said sustain. So then they went on to ask what happened in Cassie's apartment that day. It was her and Deontay Nash. And she said, we were there, me, Cass, and Deontay. They said it was helping her pack for a trip to London. Buff came banging in the door very irate. He got a key from the desk of the apartment because remember, he can get a key because who pays for it? Whose name is it under his? So he can automatically get a key and come there with the key. Yeah, and it gets, yeah, he can do all of that. What was Mr. Combs asking? He said, have you been drinking or something? She had answered his calls. He came after me and Deontay screaming, has she been drinking? He was crazy, aggressive, and he tapped her. He threw her to the ground, and me and Deontay jumped in and tried to stop it. And they asked, what did she do? She said, Deontay is very small in comparison to Puff. There was a little tornado going on. He had Deontay in a position where I was scared he was going to kill him. So I jumped on Puff, but he threw me off against the wall. I felt like I was in slow motion. I realized we were in big danger. He ran into the bedroom and grabbed Cass. Under her bed is a wooden bed platform. He slammed her head onto the corner of it. They asked her what was her, what was concerned, Cassie injury, said her head was gushing blood. He got her to protective environment. He said to call the doctor so-and-so and tell them Cass was drinking and hit her head. And they asked her, why did she do it? She said, because he said so at the time. So that day he did call his doctor where he get his medication from. He said the doctor came in and had to, because let me say this, he has doctors, right? So he know his doctors can't talk about anything under HIPAA law. Anything. This is what anybody. That's why when people say, oh, I called the hospital to see what such and such, they can't talk to you unless you're family, right? So let's say something happens to somebody, nobody gonna know. Anybody can call and say anything. Is under HIPAA law. They cannot share that information. So when y'all hear celebrities say, oh, such and such had a baby, they got that from the press. They can't get that from a nurse. They can't get that from a doctor because the way the HIPAA law is set for HIPAA law and rights, that it cannot be talked about. So just imagine a doctor going to take care of her, but he can't even say to anybody, oh, did you hear such and such and such and such? He can't say, yeah, none of that. So he can't get medical records, give them out to the press. That's like, if we don't know anything, let's say a person, a celebrity, have a hard time getting pregnant, they can only come out with that. Under HIPAA law, they cannot. So they can't discuss with nobody issues they have going on. That's why Buffy, remember Marriage to Medicine, Atlanta. When Buffy was on there with Dr. Jackie, she exposed her situation, even though Buffy released it to talk about her situation. Jackie was her doctor at the time. Jackie exposed that Buffy had a situation. That's why Buffy took that um so dang it, what's the word? She took so offense to it. And then at the time, Contessa knew Dr. Jackie was supposed to tell Contessa. That's why Buffy won her lawsuit against Contessa, because Contessa knew and confirmed the HIPAA law. Okay, so just know these doctors that Diddy has hired, they can't say what's wrong with him unless they have court and he got like a therapy or something. Let's he gets sentenced and something happened, they can release what's going on with him to the other doctor. But under HIPAA law, it cannot be talked about. So that's why he had doctors on call and on the payroll, because Diddy knows his business and her business and anyone else cannot be aired out. They said she said her eyes were black. It looked like he was looking through. She said his eyes were black. His eyes had gotten black, like completely black. Like he just was a whole another person, just very demonic. Like the evilness showed out of him. She said it was like he was looking through me. He was completely, so the judge was like, let's get a next question. Did you see Mr. Combs take drugs? She said, yeah, she saw him take drugs. And when he was high, she asked how did he appear? She said, sometimes the life of the party or hyper. So he was better when he was high than he was not high. Drugs had that effect. If you're a mean, nasty person and you take a drug, you're gonna be high. You're gonna be happy. You in a different spot. And they asked, where was this? She said in Ibiza or Burning Man or music conference. When he smashed her head, did he seem high? She said no, he wasn't high. They asked her, did they go to the Prince party? She said yeah. She said it was a bit warm ceremony suite in Beverly Hills. He told me to stay with Cassie, that he was going to be at his house with his kids. But then I heard about Prince party, and she said her and Cassie debated like little kids if they should sneak out of the house and go to Prince party, because he was going to be with the kids, so he couldn't go. Now I want to know how he knew that they was at Prince party. I wonder if she get into that. Let's get into that. Prince performed on a little table. Then I saw Puff come in with his bucket hat. We locked eyes, and I thought, oh crap, Cass just booked it. Where did you go? She said she went across the street. There were woods and bushes, but Puff caught Cass and had her on the ground. So they said Puff started to attack her, but Prince security quickly intervened. And then she said she went to another hotel room. The next day, HR told me Puff was suspending me without pay. She said that Puff said that she was being insubordinate, meaning she wasn't supposed to leave. That wasn't what they planned. And Cassie knows she's not supposed to go out because he already told Deontay and them that she always out. No, ain't no going out. So now you've been insubordinate because now you taking somebody out they want out. So he fired her without. He suspended her without pay. And you doing all that at Prince's house, like that's your house. That was that man's house. And I'm glad Prince people intervened. So then they took a break. The jury leave, and then he was talking to the prosecutor. So he asked her how much longer with me is direct. She said the rest of the day. We like her off the stand by the end of the week. So defense said that's a problem. First it was a flight, now this. Now this is why defense had called for a mistrial, because the prosecutors are sneaking in how they want to sneak in and how they want to answer these questions and do things. And, defense seemed like, hold up, wait a minute. Y'all got on. Remember, I told y'all week 1, they got on the defense team about it. They didn't want the defense team to do it. They didn't want the defense team this and that, but they're doing what they didn't want the defense team to do. So that's why the defense was like, this got to be a mistrial, which I get it, because Prosecutors are sneaking in stuff, and now they want to prolong stuff. See, remember they said, well, Deontay had a flight yesterday, we cut that and gave you that, but now all of a sudden you want to, like, you want to have the ball go in your court, like we not here, like we not fighting for this man's life. So the defense is very upset with prosecutors because prosecutors is, in the way it is seeming, like I said, I'm not there, I'm just reading it, but it does seem like they are sneaking in. They are. They want it to go how they want it to go. And then the judge say, I have not cut anything, meaning, listen, I didn't cut anything. I haven't made a decision. Understand, y'all feel this way and that way. Like I say, prosecutors and defense team got a good argument. Baby, this is what a trial looked like to me. Judge, like, I haven't cut anything. He's like, hold on. He say, I let Mr. Donaldson take time we wanted. And then, the fifth saying, I'm not blaming the court. It's a pattern I'm seeing. He say it's common courtesy. You know what I'm saying? The judge, like listen, it's common courtesy. He didn't say, I didn't know how long Mrs. Steele Cross would be. They don't need to put things on the record. He said, if we complete with this witness this week, fantastic. It keeps things moving. And then, the prosecutor, she's like, many of our witnesses are flying from across the country. We need to know for flights next week. Monday, Mr. Nance Cross was twice as long as directed. She say Mr. Steele told us he anticipated his cross being an hour and a half or 2 hours, an event longer than directed, not to hold him to it. The judge said he wants to keep it on schedule. And they asked how long will it be? And Mr. Steele said, hey, how long is it going to be today? He said latest is 4 p.m. So that was the latest at 4 p.m. So they're arguing about who's coming and everything. So Brian Steele was like, listen, but let me tell you, his defense team is really pushing to make this a mistrial. He's really pushing to say, hey, this is not what y'all have, right? But prosecutors are like, well, we have other people, and they're flying from around. I want to know who this other witness is from around the country, because if it's who I think it is and they got her, baby, if they got Miss Gina Pina, So you saying you got witnesses from across the country, like who? Because I'm going to tell y'all, a London flight, is a full day. So who do you have coming? I'm curious now, y'all. So they go back, they say, all rise, and then prosecutor, she starts back, and she says, Mia, you were speaking about violence between Mr. Combs and Cassie. Have you traveled to Turks and Caicos? She said, yes, she went with the pair of Key twice in 2012. It was her, Puff, and Cass. They asked what happened. She said, I was sleeping in the bed when I was woken up. Cass ran in saying, you got to help me. He's trying to unalive me. They asked, what did you do? We started pushing furniture in front of the door. They were trying to block him from coming in. They say Puff was banging and screaming. They had a Porsche that went out to the beach. They went out to the beach and started running. She said that what she remember about them running was being amazed at even running fast, we could be attacked by bugs. I have another visual where we were hiding of and trying to escape like 2 separate times. Then she said they got onto the pedal boards. They went out in the water. Puff was on the beach screaming. It was flat. They went out far. Puff got smaller and smaller on the beach. Then the sky got dark. Objection overruled, and they went back. Because of the fact is the clouds, it was getting dark at night. They're trying to go out there in the ocean. They don't know where the hell they're going. They don't know if they're going to an opposite side, to another island. Remember, they don't got no passport. It wouldn't make no sense to be on the boat, the paddle, without your passport. And if you going where I think you're going, Turks and Caicos, I believe the next would probably, let me look. I don't know. I think Turks is close to, I know Barbados is close to Brazil. Turks is close. Is Turks and Caicos close to Brazil? I know it's close to another. Let me see how far, like what island would they be on? I'm thinking of Trinidad and Tobago, close to Seville, Brazil, Brazil. My bad. So if they was doing there, they was going to go to the Bahamas. Bahamas is closer. Yeah, yeah. They were either going to end up in the DR, Haiti, or they were going to end up in the Bahamas. Now, I don't think they were going to end up far in the Bahamas. Well, the Bahamas or without their passport, even DR in Haiti, because Turks and Caicos sits in the middle. So if they were going where I think they were going, they'd probably be in the DR Haiti if they stayed on the paddleboards all night. But let's be honest, you got sharks at night. Ain't no telling what's going on. So, it went back. They asked her, did she call the police? She said no. She said she believed Pulse Authority was over the police. This was before social media and Me Too. There were no examples of people standing up, and I thought it was under the confidential deal with Puff's business. And she showed her a picture of Cassie eating a hot dog at the premiere of her movie, The Perfect Match. She was bruising under her makeup, and she took those pictures. And there is pictures of Cassie at The Perfect Match with bruises on her. There are pictures of it. Somebody got a good exact picture. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. It was one picture they had a good one with her arm. She had on her arm, but see the way she taking that picture, her shoulder, her hair is hiding. And I think some of the people that were editing these pictures, y'all can go look it up, but look, Perfect Match premiere. Even if it did have some bruises, and it was a bruise on her knee. When she showed her leg, there was a bruise on her knee at that premiere as well. Yeah, it's there. She was bruising under her makeup. She took the photos, and they asked, did she have when she was at the Cannes Film Festival that she was covered up on the red carpet. Her injuries. She had a busted lip. In a hotel room with Larry Sims, her stylist. That's where she was at, but she did have a busted lip. She said Cass had an audio recording of Puff attacking her. How did Cass sound on the audio? Objection overruled. I heard the sound of someone getting hit. Did you go to the event? She said she only went to the premiere of Brad Pitt's movie Killing Them Softly. Said Puff was digging his nails into her arm and talking low. He say take care of her. I bring her some anoretic gel for her bruises after he bruised her up on her arm. So they went and they turned to December 22nd, 2011. They was at Puff House. The moon was darker than normal. There was more of he was more upset. And that Cassie had been talking to somebody else. And they say, well, who was he upset about her talking to? And, as someone else. And it was like Kid Cudi. And they was like, he seemed heartbroken. It was not obnoxious. I never witnessed Cassie do something to really cause him to be upset. I felt something bad would happen. And the last time they saw her, she was in a black car with Capricorn Clark and D Rock. So now we have it in place for another witness to say, yes, they were all in the car together and they all were heading to Kid Cudi house. Yes, that she said that. She said she reached out to D Rock. She emailed him. He was security I'm sorry. She emailed him. So as she going on to the middle of that, only to redact it into the evidence. So Mr. Steele said, same objection. He was security with the foundation admitted. So they asked her to read the messages. She said, I wrote to D-Rock. I'm worried about P. This feels different. Hit this email when you get it. Love you. And they asked her, was she romantically involved with D-Rock? And she said, definitely not. That's just how they talk. So basically, her and talk, D-Rock would say, hey, love you. Like, that's just how they communicated, had a conversation. And that was that, but they never was romantically involved. Now, I don't know nobody telling some, well, there are people that do say it, and then I guess it seemed more like, I guess they were more like family because, well, some people don't. I don't know. Some people don't consider they, you know, work people family like that. Um, the hotel nights, she was responsible for. She would take them there. She would unpack. She also helped set up. She would have to just be like on call for essentials and clean up before housekeeping. So if they needed more lotions and potions or whatever, she was responsible. When they were done, she would have to go to that hotel room and basically clean it up the best she can before housekeeping came in to clean up. So that was her role as well. So she would go in, set it up with the baby oil, and like he said, he wanted it heated up and the lube and all that stuff and the lights and all of that exotic mess and whatever was needed. If there was rugs or anything to be under the influence, the cameras, she did. She set those stuffs up, set the things up because that's what he asked. So that's what she was set up. She said the Astroglides, the candles, some of the cheap Glade candles without the label on them, they had to be white candles, no colored candles, white candles, no colored candles. Get the lube, get the baby oil. That was the thing. Make sure you got your Astroglide. Child. um what else she bring to the hotel? So she said she would anything he forgot at the house, like food and money. And he would request for thousands of dollars. Now, remember, we one of the witnesses, one of the workers was like, "Yeah, we got paid thousands." So whatever money he had, he knew how much he was gonna give out. Then she said she saw Cassie. She saw her at the London Hotel in New York. She had to bring something to the room. She said she opened the door and she was wearing a bright blue wig. She was, appearing like she was struggling, and she asked her, was she good? And baby, she closed that door. Like, I can't answer that for you. I'm going to close the door. We can't have this conversation. Like, baby, he's right here. I got to go. So she said she cleaned the room. The office, she go to the office. It was standard to sweep the room, so no housekeeper could sell anything to TMZ. They said the rooms were destroyed. There was candle wax everywhere, broken glass, sometimes blood and oil on. What the hell was he doing? Why you got candle wax on the wall? Why is there oil on the wall? What in the hell? So not only is he out of control, he just a messy motherfucker. He messy. So they asked her, what would Mr. Combs tell you about the blood? That it was period blood. So they asked her what happened in Cassie car in LA. And Cassie got a call and told me he wants to do a hotel night. I don't want to. She got sick. After the hotel night, man down. And they asked her, so what does that mean? She said that they stayed in the room sleeping, only up to eat. They asked her, was there any drugs before they worked? And she said no. And after, she said yes. MDMA Puff gave it to me. He said that I was now part of the Breakfast Club. And they asked her, what did it mean? Like the cool club. He said his MDMA was pure. I felt like I was now a friend hanging out and I could enjoy myself. So they asked her, did she take ketamine? She said, yes, at Burning Man. We were partying on a tour bus and we had the blackout shades down. What the hell? I would have said, oh, no, thank you. I don't do that. Mm-mm. And then she said he had the rugs on the plate. She tried to say no. She said he wouldn't let it go. It turned a little more serious, and I was going to mess up the whole vibe. I tried to fake take it. He got close to my face and humiliated me. So they asked her, well, how did she get humiliated? I'm getting tongue tied, Genie over here. Mm-mm. Name of Jesus. No, no, sir. He said he separated out. She said he separated out of dose. He made me snort. I didn't want to fall into the K hole. I had seen a person. It looked like an exorcism. She said she didn't want to take it, but she had no choice. And she said, they asked, was he taking drugs when working? She said he was always working. Once on the way to Chancellery Handler, he took something. He took a drug. And she asked how did he treat her. She said sometimes like best friends, working partner. Sometimes like I was a worthless piece of crap. She said his work gave him life. That was how he complimented her. And then on the other times, he would long extended rants about how incompetent and stupid I was and threaten my job. And then he would throw things at me. He threw things at me when he felt like I didn't do my job my best. That's exactly what she said. She said he threw stuff at her like she didn't do her best. Yep. He tried to take, so this is when she talks about revolt and how he tried to take credits away from her. So they asked her, did he talk about the job? She said, yes, before Revolt Films, he talked about other companies. I told him I wanted to create and develop TV shows, especially comedy. He said that's what he wanted to do. Then he take away my credits. So he took away her having the credit to come up with these ideas, and that he'll make it seem like Mia and him are going to work together, or they're going to do this and that. It's going to come out great. And then once it happens or whatever starts, Mia don't get the credit. He get the credit. He pay her as of, hey, thank you for the idea, appreciate it, and going by, and then have her still do assisted jobs like cleaning up after him at a nasty hotel. Okay, so they asked her, child. Okay, this right here is gonna get a little. This is kind of like what you would call hostile at the workplace. We're gonna get into it, but he's doing the hostilization, right? So they asked her what he threw at her. Mia said he threw a bowl of spaghetti with turkey meat, a bowl of spaghetti, turkey meat, a computer, and a phone. I know you are lying to me. He threw a bowl of spaghetti at her. Now we don't know this. Most likely, it's probably a ceramic bowl. He probably ain't gonna eat out no plastic bowl. He threw his phone, and I know that had to hurt. A laptop and some damn turkey meat, like she a damn dog. He threw spaghetti, phone, turkey meat, and a laptop like she a damn dog. Worse than a dog. Whew. So this is where it get a little different. So they say, let's talk about the spaghetti. What did he tell you to do to get people? But I need to change my tampon. He yelled, yo girl, I said to do it now. She said there would be blood dripping down her leg. She said she had to change her tampon. So you mean to tell me she couldn't go change and be a woman? He threw a bowl of spaghetti at her, and then he said, get the fuck out my house. He chased me out. I was barefoot. I had to hide in a bush, then to a hotel. Imagine you have your feminine product, that of your choice, and it's time to change because you are not on your cycle. You're already tired, exhausted. You're probably hungry and want to lay down and get this over with. And then on the halves of you having to change, you have blood running down your leg, and his decision of choice to mostly embarrass you is a bowl of damn spaghetti. And imagine you are in your clothes to go to a nearest hotel to take a shower and change because now your clothes is destroyed as a woman. Because he wants to be an obnoxious asshole. So you go to a hotel to shower and you feel mostly embarrassed and you're walking around with spaghetti on your clothes and blood running down your legs. I want to know why the hell do females feel like laying up with that? Why? That is disgusting. He is very much disgusting. So HR called her and they told her she was going to be suspended without pay, and that's what Puffy wanted. And they asked her, "Where were you when he threw a computer at you?" She said, "When he threw the computer at her in a trailer, Swiss Beats was there. The Wi-Fi was broken. I went to look into it. She said I came back and said they were working on it. And they asked him when he did. He said I should talk to Bill Gates if I had to. They threw his computer at my head hard and it just missed me. I ran in hid behind the luggage van. I want to know, is that why Swiss Beats at the time? Remember around that time, Swiss Beats stopped coming around, and that's probably why. Because if y'all notice, Swiss Beats wasn't around him like that. He stopped. I wouldn't be surprised Swiss Beats be subpoenaed to come and discuss about it, because that's when I noticed a lot of people went around him around that time. Like people stopped fucking with him. Mm-mm. I'm gonna have to look that up though. How did she asked her how did she feel? She said, "I wonder what did I do to make him feel like this to me?" She saying he did hurt her at the Turks and Caicos at the Revolt Arts office. And they asked, "Where were you at Turks and Caicos?" She would say she was at the Hammett by her room. Puff dumped a bucket of ice on me, screaming. Then he, excuse me, took her phone. She didn't want to see him. I didn't want him to see it. The team we'd message about his moves. I didn't want him to see it, so I jumped on his back. He threw me back into the pool. And this was at Revolt TV outside on the I guess the resort. And then at Revolt TV, he was using my phone. I didn't want to see my messages. Maybe I called him an asshole and I tried to get my phone back. He ran into the bathroom and slammed the door on my arm repeatedly. And she had some bruises. So when she was trying to get her phone back, he slammed the door on her arm. She said she did see him at the studio. He told me he sent all my compromising photos to him, to his phone, in case I had stuff on him, kind of a bullying joke. And she had no photos, so she knew he was lying. That he had some photos of her. And they showed her the emails with Tony and Shannon. She said Puff took my phone, my iPhone. I don't know when I'll get it back. Tony's asked what happened. I said definitely in-person story. She said she wouldn't put violence in writing. And they asked her who was Matt, and she said that he was his engineer. At one point, she dated him. So she was dating the engineer. So they took a break, they came back, and then this one they asked her about the essays when they occurred. So she said she was working for him at the time. This is the first time that the essay happened. It was the Plaza Hotel in New York for his 40th birthday party. And she says she was only his assistant for only a few months. Um, he rented out a penthouse, and the parties, guests, and celebrities were there at the penthouse. Okay, so the room that he rented out was the penthouse. So if anybody sit here and tell y'all, "Oh, I rescued," they were never at a party like that. Remember, this is where we're gonna let y'all know he's only witness one. Okay. Now, remember, they're mentioning these security guards and these bodyguards. Their records are sealed right now after this case is over. Diddy is only, I'm sorry, he's not witness one, he's defendant one. So there are three more defendants to be used. Um, And remember, they keep mentioning the bodyguards who were there. Remember, they're mentioning this, so I want y'all to be aware. Y'all see them doing interviews and talking because they know what time it is. They already know. They already know. But we don't know who it is. We just say that. But I want y'all to remember because I guarantee you how the feds work. Also, she's saying her time when he essayed her. Now, if y'all can't handle it, y'all can leave out the video. She's going to get into that. We're going to get into that. But I want y'all to remember he's defended one. Just remember that because I remember in the affidavit, they don't know who all was part of it, but there will be a crime for it. And if you think about it, how they did Young Thug, all the people he knew and stuff, yeah, just wait on me, okay? So, and also with the celebrities, they were only at the penthouse for parties. And also remember the ex workers. The ex workers were only used for hotels. So it wasn't a party like people thought. It was only just whoever he was with and whatever workers he hired for that moment to get his kink off. She said that they had the penthouse. He asked to speak with me in the kitchen, and he had everyone else clear the room. So everyone else with the party. So I guess everybody was like, okay, whatever. And they talked and they said they were going to be working closer together. He poured us 2 shots of vodka each for his birthday. What she say she do with the shots? She said she took the shots and they hit her hard. Usually I could take it easily. My eyes couldn't focus. His face was closed. He put his arm on the side of my dress and he kissed me. They asked her, did she want him to? He said, no. Were you able to say no? She said, I was shocked. I was froze. I didn't process what was happening. Next thing I knew, it was morning and it was a chair in the penthouse. How did you look at him? Like an older adult. He was the boss or the king. And she said, I thought it would never happen again, a huge accident. So after everybody left the penthouse, remember what she said. Okay, we're going to go back to it. She said the penthouse, party guests and celebrities were there at the penthouse. So if everybody cleared the room in the kitchen, he laid her down, he probably pat her somewhere else in the penthouse, waited till everybody left, and then laid her down. Okay? Next thing I knew, she said it was morning. She said she didn't look at Diddy like that. She didn't look at him like someone that she wanted to sleep with. She didn't look at him like someone that could be her man. She just saw him as her boss, her big brother, like somebody older. She didn't have anything to see him as. So where were the other times he made you feel uncomfortable? Uncomfortable. She said she had to carry bags to his rooms. Downstairs was Uncle Parley. What did he say to you? Objection, ground, hearsay for the effect of overruled. Okay, so she had to keep going. I brought the bags. He asked me to pull up something on his computer. He came and sat next to me, leaned over me as if to put his face in the computer, like in a comfortable way. So she had to pretend like she had to go to the bathroom. Were you there the next time he essayed you? The Beverly Grove house. I was asleep on the bottom bunk. I wasn't allowed to lock the door. I woke up. There was a weight of a person on me, and it was him. It was so fast. He used one hand to get his pants undone. I put himself out of me. So she tried to push him out of her. And that's when he put it in her. And she froze. And she was terrified and confused and ashamed and scared. But he was very quick. And she said it felt like forever, but he wouldn't leave a job unfinished. And they asked, is that when it ended? And she said, yeah. And then she said the next time the Beverly Crest hit house, she was on his bedroom closet floor putting things in a bag, and he came in the closet and he put his in me out and he grabbed my head and cries and put it in. So he put it in and out her mouth and she was frozen. She couldn't do anything. She said she felt like trash, scared, and ashamed. And she said it was very fast. Were there other essays? She said, yes, she has a dark feeling. One time they were flying on a private jet. Everyone was asleep by the bathroom. There was a bed. I went by and was standing right there. I tried to make it about other people who might see or hear, and it didn't work. So he did it anyway. And she felt helpless and she lost some layer of protection. She wasn't safe. She was terrified. But she don't remember everything that happened. Cassie wasn't there at none of these times that he essayed her. Cassie wasn't there. So that's it. Did she ever tell him? She said, I couldn't tell him about a sandwich or anything. Then he would know that I thought what he was doing was wrong. She said she didn't want to lose everything she worked so hard for. And this was the only world I had anymore. And that's what happened to her job. And she said I would never work in the industry again. And she said physically that I'll be attacked and I don't want to die. So basically, when people work for Diddy, Diddy has to make sure and get the understanding that people could be an assistant. So if you want to go work for Jay-Z or anybody else, he has to make a call. Like Diddy wants a phone call. Diddy wants a phone call. He wants a phone call. He want to know. Yeah, he want to know everything. He threatened that he would tell Cassie that I had something to do with it. They asked her how she felt. She felt desperate. She was trapped. Worse, scary situation. I wouldn't have done anything. It was my fault. And then they asked if she tell anymore. And she say, no, I was going to die with this. She said she felt humiliated and never work again. They asked her, well, who would do all these things? She said he would do it, puffing all these people. This was before social media and Me Too. There was confidential. So basically, she's basically saying that staff has something as well. So remember I told y'all in the affidavit they were accusing some of his staff members at the time. This was before social media Me Too. Did others speak up? She said, Kalia Faulkner, not sure the spelling. How did you hear? I heard there was an urgent call among film. And the judge asked her to lay some contents when she talked about this, right? So they asked who was on the call, and it was HR, suites, executives. What were you told? If she sued, I'd have to testify. She was supposed to say she was drinking, he punched me, and that she was fired. She was supposed to say that she was drinking and she punched her, and that's why she was fired. And she said no, it was because she complained. And then they asked her, when else were you told you have to testify after Capricorn Clark? Did you have to testify? She said no. Why didn't you go to the police about Mr. Combs saying you? She said I didn't even consider it. Did you ever have experience with police? Yes, I was speeding. I hadn't had time to get my license renewed. It was the only time I name dropped. I told her who I worked for. She said, get him on the phone. I did. She laughed. Oh, Puff Daddy, I love you. Did you get a ticket? And she said, no, she did not get a ticket. They asked why she didn't tell about the essays. It's almost shameful thing of my life. Did you get a lawyer for this testimony? She said, yeah. Did you speak about this essays before or after you got the lawyer? She said, after. Do you want to be talking about these essays? No, it's traumatizing. Why are you here today? And the judge said, Miss Miser, you asked that. She said, we could break here. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so that was the end Um, Day trial. So the jury leaves. Okay, they're going back to their arguments with the judge. So Combs defense team said the government sent us a letter after 11 p.m. last night about changes to the direct case with fewer witnesses. It might take our case longer. That's vague. I still see 4th of July. So this case, they're still looking at the week of 4th of July. And what they're saying is, hey, because they have to cross-examine, it might take longer. So we might have a 12-week, 14-week trial. When we said 6 to 8 weeks, it might, I say 8 to 14, 12 weeks. I say 8 to 12. She has to still talk about the essays. Okay? Now, when she say his people, a lot of people gonna be like, oh, she called out the celebrities. No. Remember, she said they were in another part, in another room. She was left somewhere else. If people, celebrities saw that and knew that, I guarantee you they would have told. Another thing, you got to understand who was all around and tried to hide this. HR, security, and everybody that worked with him. You can't give no celebrity to do some stuff unless they want to say that. But if they work, you gotta understand he had all. And when I read the affidavit to y'all can go look at my video. I will try to link it into the description box. When I read the affidavit, he said his people. They said his people that work for him were also could be deemed as accomplices. That's why they were subpoenaed to be there. I'm going to put when I read that affidavit to y'all and who all they were targeting. So now they're saying, okay, he made it like whatever entity he wanted to make it out of, but he was hiring people to do these things, and that's where the RICO come in. Okay, your security guard and assistants, you making them a part of stuff. Then on top of that, you got other people you're making a part of stuff, and now you're blackmailing them if they don't do these things to use it against them. Because think about it, some of the people probably are blackmailed because guess what? They probably touched on that girl. Allegedly. She said she blamed his people, meaning she went to HR and everybody. They knew. They knew. This man has, I'm gonna tell you something. I said this in Girl, Is That Legal Live, Attorney Simone Red Ryan Live, and I said I always knew, I just never liked him growing up. I was a kid. I just didn't like him. And I'll never forget my granddaddy. May he rest in peace. He said something is wrong with that boy. He called it out. And let me tell you something. You got a grandparent in the South, they know. He said something wrong with that boy. That boy ain't all right. He's sneaky. He said that. Fast forward, my grandfather died in 2004, 2005. We are now in 2025. My granddaddy ain't lie. Not one bit. My granddaddy ain't lie. Let me tell you something. When them old folks know, they know. They know something is wrong with somebody. I'll be telling y'all, take heed. They're not telling y'all be, oh, they're jealous. No, they know. They know. And majority of them don't speak on it when something going right because guess what? They already know. This man has been uncontrolled since he touched money. And I want people to understand, and I want the black community to take hold of saying, I want the black community to take a part of this. And I'm going to tell you why. There's something we got to work on. Y'all make these people famous for crashing out. They get money and come bigger crash outs. Y'all put this weight on them. Y'all talk about, oh, they think they better because of money, this and that. And y'all look at the amount of money as evil, right? but y'all only look at it, and I can do another video on it, but y'all only deem people that's evil with money because y'all made them that way when certain things that you would do and allow. We got to get better on that. People got to understand we got a lot to clear with as a black. I'm gonna do a separate video on it Saturday, maybe Sunday before I go work, or Friday, either one. I might come back live and do it because it's something I do want to discuss, because we pick on futures, we pick on people that got more money, we pick on, oh, if you ain't got this, you ain't. We got to stop that mentality at this point. We have to stop, because this is why celebrities are crashing out. That the pressure. I'm gonna talk about it tonight with the pressure. And like I said, everybody want to say Chris Brown an abuser. Y'all only call it Chris Brown an abuser because he beat on a man. He did not beat a woman. When he took that bottle, he beat a man. Let me say it again. He did not beat a woman. He beat a man. It wasn't like he was in a relationship with the man. That means they had a powwow. That's like me. If I sit here like, okay, or like the brat, when she hit that woman, nobody called her an abuser. Don't call him one. But the brat did her time. Whenever y'all just said the brat crashed out, the brat just smacked. Yeah, he did the same. This is an abuser. This is an abuser with power. That is Diddy. Tory Lanez is an abuser. Yeah. Tory Lanez fight you because you don't look at him. He not gonna fight nobody because they bother him. He fights you because you don't say hey to him. He a bully. Yeah. If he didn't, let me tell you something. If that man didn't go and do his 10 years, he would be abusing, crash out like Diddy. He would have been another Diddy. It would be another Diddy. And that's just being honest. I'm finna be honest. He done hit on August and all. He would be another Diddy. We not act like he not. He would be another Diddy. Just like with DDG. Y'all gotta be honest. Just because all these girls, oh, I wasn't, India Love sister say you were doing a little too much. Oh, I wasn't doing no much. I was just saying he's gonna be mark my words. I don't never lie to y'all. That's gonna be a Diddy. I'm telling y'all, a streamer Diddy. If nobody get him under control, because guess what? His mama let him do what he want to do. His family let him do what he want to do. Why? Because she got a house. She living nice. He's gonna be another. Who did the same thing? Diddy mama, living lovely. Oh, great. She got this and that. Yeah. Treat her like crap. Off camera. I heard allegedly she was told shut the F up, and that's his mama. Another crash out. So, like I say, y'all just gotta put Chris Brown. Don't put him with them. I put Chris Brown with just a plain crash out. You know, like one of them dudes on the streets, they say something, just crash out. You say the wrong thing, you gotta put him with them. You gotta put him with them. Them, y'all got them where they supposed to be. Just move him over, because we all know Chris said since 2008 he had some issues, and that's why he get married. He is advised to have marijuana. He is told to. That's why he got that bail. He probably, because he has a doctor's note for marijuana. Okay, he came out and said it. My doctor told me. He went to a therapist, a doctor. He went and told them everything. They say, well, we're going to put you on medical marijuana. That's how you get that. When they be like, oh, you got a doctor's note, because y'all don't know, Chris Brown is bipolar. Y'all ain't noticed that? He said it. He'll tell you. He does. That's why he smokes a lot. That's what is wrong with him. And what do bipolar people do? When they feel like somebody bothered them, they snap, like they crash out. He said it. He said when he went to therapy after that situation, when he talked to the therapist said, you need weed. Yep. You got something wrong with you. He said it in an interview. He has said that. Allegedly. I'm gonna put allegedly. I don't want to tell nobody business. But if y'all pay attention, the man, something wrong with that man. That man need that. Okay? Y'all don't understand. I will pull up that interview where that man basically said he is bipolar. And a lot of people are like, he's the man just told y'all something is wrong. And y'all still saying the man just told y'all a long time ago, I have to take weed as a medication. I have to take things to relax me. That's why he don't argue with nobody. Well, y'all, I'll have another conversation. That's another thing we want to talk to in the Black community. Y'all need to analyze what is mental health and other things than being a physical being for you to see. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I want to know in the comments, do you think that Diddy will get life? If he does not get life, what time do you think he will get served? What do you think they will be giving him for this? Let me know in the comment section. How long do you think Diddy will be gone? I want to know in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next live. Bye.